Hello and welcome to my 11th week in media. Now I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it feels strange. But it does. It's still strange to do this every week. And yeah, there's not really a lot else to say. This week I add in another new segment. That's right. This week we're retiring. I say retiring. We are stepping back from 1 minute reviews just because I've not been very well this week, and doing 1 minute reviews is normally something I'm only going to do when I have a lot to review and not enough time to talk about it all. So next week is likely that because Blair Witch is coming out and there is like 8-9 new releases, that I'll probably be doing at least 1 minute review, maybe a few more for some old films if I get around to seeing them. But this week it's been, for me, it's been low on films, even though I know there's been like 5 new releases on Friday. I was really, really ill on Saturday when I was supposed to go. I was supposed to go and see 3 films, which means even though I said last week I'd be reviewing Hell or High Water, Ben-Hur, and Don't Breathe, films that I was all really, really excited for, I've literally only managed to go and see Kubo this week. I've also seen Morgan, so I saw that just at the end of last week, but I'd already done the podcast, so I didn't put it in. So I'm quite glad I've got that. So there is 2 new releases. But while I may have only got 2 new releases, I've also got some hella brilliant TV things to talk about. And that's also bringing me straight back round to a completely new segment. That is trailer spotlighting straight back in there. It's the best week we've got yet. We've got some fantastic trailers. And, I mean, I've only picked 3 trailers and I could have picked so many more this week. So that's really good. And I'm also bringing in Pilot Spotlight. Now, this is something I'm only doing for a couple of weeks because I mainly just want to talk about the new American shows that are coming out and what makes them stand out and why you should look out for them, or maybe even not look out for them. I'm going to be talking about new things. I'm talking about the new season of American Horror Story, which I have predictions for. Obviously, at the time this is out, or maybe you're even listening to this, American Horror Story Season 6's theme may be revealed. I'm still unaware of it. I personally think it might be an anthology series in itself, in that every episode is a completely different theme. Really, really hope that's something, but it doesn't really matter. So we've got that. We have Atlanta, we have Geeking Out, we have Son of Zorn, Westworld, loads and loads of amazing pilots, and things that I'm kind of classing as a pilot, even though, you know, maybe they're not a pilot. I'd say American Horror Story is technically not a pilot, but it's a new theme. Scream Queens, technically not a pilot, but it's a new theme, and all these other things. So that's all coming into it, and this week I'm going to be talking about Atlanta, which is Donald Glover's new show, and Geeking Out, because obviously this is not just a film podcast, this is my week in media, and that's including TV. So that's also coming in. So trailer spotlighting's a thing, pilot spotlighting's a thing for the next couple of weeks, and we also have reviews for probably, we're talking about feeling strange at the beginning of the things. We finally got around to watching Stranger Things, so that's going in there. I've got Stranger Things, I have Kubo, I have Morgan, and of course trailer and pilot spotlights. So it's still quite a busy episode. Maybe it's going to be a bit shorter. I'm not 100% sure, but it should be a fun one anyway. So I think we should kick straight off with one of the new releases. We'll start and end with a new release. That's probably the best way to do things. So let's kick it straight off with Morgan.
We're all very happy to have you here, Lee.
I imagine that's not exactly true.
Doctor, this is Lee Weathers from corporate.
I'm just looking for some information about Morgan.
Morgan was our 3rd attempt, our little breakthrough.
It's the next step in evolution. It's bioengineered with synthetic DNA.
Within a month, walking and talking. Within 6 months, it exceeded our wildest expectations.
I'd like to discuss the incident if that's okay.
She had a tantrum. There was joy in her heart before we shoved her back in that box.
So, Morgan. Morgan is directed by Luke Scott, and it's his first ever film. If you don't know who Luke Scott is, I'm pretty confident, I'm saying this off a whim, he's Ridley Scott's son. I said that in the intro, and I hope I'm right with that, and I'll continue it here. I probably should have looked these things up, but generally, my extensive research doesn't go that far, even though it's literally just like a Wikipedia link. But either way, Morgan is about a little girl played by, well, not little girl, little in age, not little in size, played by Anna Taylor-Joy. Now, Anna Taylor-Joy, just as a side note before I go into the story anymore, is a fantastic actress this year. She's like an up-and-coming actress. She played the main character in The Witch, which, in my opinion, is one of the best films of this year so far. I think it was a fantastic horror, and she was fantastic in it. So this was one of the main reasons I was looking forward to this. It also has Kate Mara in it, and Paul Giamatti. It's got a really, really good cast. I really like Kate Mara from House of Cards and a couple of other things we know Fantastic Four. You know, we just really, really ignore that film. Anyway, plot. It's about this girl. She was genetically made. No, I was going to say modified, but she's not modified. Genetically made. Now, from the trailers, I actually thought she had powers, superpowers. I thought it was just going to be another superpower film. But no, she's actually just a bit of a psychopath. She was a genetically modified child, and she looks like she's about 14, 15, which is, you know, I think how old Anna Taylor-Joy actually is. But in this, she's actually 5. And she grows at an accelerated rate, and I'm pretty confident that means she has accelerated strength and other things. So she's not a superhero as such, but, you know, she's excessively strong. And, you know, if she really wanted to kill you, she probably could kill you, because although she hasn't got anything, you know, ultra modified, I don't really know. I don't think it's ever really explained whether she's, like, superpowered or not. I think it's just, she's just kind of stronger than you, and stronger than me, and that's the point of her. Anyway, she is this psychopath, and she attacked someone on this team. There's like a team of people surrounding her, guarding her, and she attacked someone on this team. And that means Kate Mara, who is like the person who works for a company who owns this team and owns this project and everything, and she's been sent out to do basically a risk assessment on her. And that's where the film mostly takes part. And it kind of is an ex machina. Is it worth saving her? Is it not? Is she real in that sense? Is she not? And then it kind of becomes like a thriller. Now, as I said, I expected this film to be full of superheroes and superpowers, and I was very surprised when the first 50 to maybe to an hour even were really kind of intense, room-to-room thriller, but not like action thriller, just like psychological thriller. Weird, I don't know, this is hard for me to explain, but intense action, deep drama, and really like close encounters. It's really hard for me to describe what I mean, but I really liked I liked this. This is my favourite part about this film, and I think that's because the marketing to me didn't scream out great. I thought it looked a bit boring and a bit generic and a bit actiony, and the action thing is what I kind of wanted to stay away from. I wanted a pure science fiction thriller, maybe just more of a science fiction psychological thriller. And for the first hour, that's exactly what I got. And then it's when Paul Giamatti comes in that everything kind of kicks off. And you've seen it in the trailers, it's in all the trailers, and I think it was a bit stupid to put it in the trailers, really, because they show a lot in the trailers from that scene, and that's a pivotal point in the film. And I don't think it was needed to be shown. It doesn't necessarily spoil things, like, I didn't know where it was going in that sense, but I wish I hadn't seen as much of it as I had. There was a lot of other scenes they could have used, which would have been just as impactful, I think. Especially near the end, which were just kind of mindless scenes. And that's where my point's going. The story also goes into points where I'm not happy with it. It goes into an action film. The last half an hour, 45 minutes, are a complete change of tone from the first hour. And I really, really did not like that change of tone. It felt out of place. It felt like it was going in directions which I wasn't keen on. Yes, there are amazing parts when Anna Taylor-Joy is going around a house. That's much as I'm saying about it. And I think it's stunning. That's probably one of my favourite bits of the film. Yes, it's kind of actiony, but it's not extreme. In fact, it's more of a horror film in that sense than it is an actiony. But then it goes into real action territory. There's a full-on fight scene between two characters. Well, between Anna Taylor-Joy and another character. And I mean, when I mean fight scene, I just don't mean just like throwing a punch. I mean like karate, full-on fight scenes. And yes, a lot of people are saying the twist and everything in this film. Well, not twist. A lot of things in this film are quite predictable. And maybe they are a bit predictable. I kind of called it right from the beginning, mainly because someone told me it's quite predictable, and I thought, oh, I bet it's that, and I was right. And I enjoyed, I mean, Chris Stuckman said the same as me, and I don't want to sound like I'm copying him, but, I mean, it's very true. It is very interesting, once you've kind of assumed what this plot's going to be, as to where they take it and seeing it from a different angle. I mean, instantly seeing something from an angle. I mean, it was only an assumption. I mean, it turned out to be a correct assumption, but it didn't detract from the experience. What did detract from the experience is the consistent change of tone. I really didn't like it. There was a lot of wasted potential from what could have been a really good science fiction thriller. I mean, Ex Machina was one of my favourite films of last year, if not No, it wasn't my favourite film of last year. Top 5 films of last year, though. And I really liked how that was just close quarters action. And when it did go action, it wasn't stupid, and it was for like 5 minutes of the film, and it was kind of perfect. This took it to new levels. But as a directed film, Luke Scott does a damn good job, and I was really impressed with it. It's got a relatively good soundtrack, and it's acted very, very well. But that's all I can really say about it. It's acted well, and the first hour's good. The last half an hour wasn't great. It was a bit predictable, but it was kind of interesting seeing it from that thingy. But the nothing really, like, shocked me. The horror elements were good, but not utilised enough. I mean, it just had so much potential, and it feels like it was wasted on some action elements. I'm going to give Morgan 3 stars out of 5. It's that time of the podcast again. And when I say it's that time of the podcast again, it's that time for the second ever time. This is your second ever trailer spotlight. Now that was pretty much the perfect place for me to put in the intro. But I also just want to say that the last one wasn't that great. In fact, to be fair, I tried to put it in a very bad week because trailers were at a loose, poor spot. And this week has been pretty much perfect, and I'm really annoyed that I didn't start it this week, but I mean, I've kind of got the flow for it now. So let's go straight in there. We've got the trailers for Live by Night, Collateral Beauty, and Free Fire. Let's get straight in there. This is your second ever trailer spotlight. Trailer spotlight.
Here he is.
1,000 apologies. Hate it when people are tardy. It's good to meet you boys. Thanks for coming out. You didn't masturbate before you got here, did you?
You what?
I told you I don't want to work with anybody who's carrying a loaded weapon.
Fuck the small talk. Let's buy some guns, eh?
You're on a different level now. The guy who represents this merchandise, his lawn is bigger than your whole fucking country.
Justine. As gorgeous as ever. Well, you've put on a bit of weight.
Fuck off.
Check out the merch.
That's not what he ordered.
Fuck, really?
We ordered M16s, different weapon.
I'm not running a fucking pizza delivery service.
Keep your shit together.
You want the weapons or you don't want the weapons?
Here we go. Oh, now we're cooking!
So that was your little glimpse at the first trailer for... Well, actually, I can't tell whether it is the first trailer, because they released 2 trailers at the same time. They released the red band one and a normal one. So it's one of the first trailers for Ben Wheatley's Free Fire. Now, if you don't know who Ben Wheatley is, he directed this year's High Rise. He's directed A Field in England. He's done some very, very good films. And High Rise is obviously his latest thing. And ever since High Rise, I became kind of infatuated with Ben Wheatley and his films, and I really started to like what he was doing. And I've been following Free Fire pretty much straight after High Rise, because it was being spoken about really early on, which surprised me, because according to literally every trailer and everything everywhere here in the UK, we're not actually getting it until next March, which is really, really annoying me, because it is being shown at literally every festival everywhere, and it's really starting to annoy me now, because I desperately want to see this film, because it looks insane. Now, if you couldn't gather from from the little clip that I gave you, it has an amazing all-star cast. It's got Brie Larson, Sharlto Copley, Cillian Murphy, Jack Rayner. I mean, if you actually look at the full cast list, I mean, it's pretty insane who's in this film. I mean, Brie Larson, on her own, can sell a film now thanks to Room and her Academy Award. And, I mean, she sold it for me instantly. As soon as I knew she was in it, for me, I was kind of like hooked on this, because Room, again, one of the best films of last year. Not my top 5, but still definitely one of the best films of last year. Anyway, this is about, I think mostly it's about a gun trade that goes wrong, and everyone starts shooting each other. Now, I think that's it, because about a minute and a half of the trailer is everyone shooting each other, and that looks like what the entire film is going to be. And anything, and I mean, that just sounds amazing. Literally, if this is like a 2-hour film, this could just be brilliant. I want to see people shooting each other for an entire film. That concept on its own just looks great. It looks like there's some comedy in it. In fact, it looks like there's a lot of comedy in it. That's what kind of Ben Wheatley's really good at. But it looks strange. It looks weird. It looks like it's all set in one warehouse. And I think there's a lot of potential to just be really, really creative with this film. And that is exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be hella creative. There is no other way of putting this. This trailer is epic. It's definitely deserve a watch. And I think if you can get to see this at a festival, if you can get to see this anywhere before March, I mean, let me know what it's like, because I am desperate to see this film. It looks insane. I mean, this trailer couldn't appeal to me a lot. All I will say is, if it is 2 hours of people just shooting each other, I mean, it could get a bit dull, which is why I'm not going to give it 5 stars, but I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. That's my little review of the Free Fire first trailer.
This is heaven. Right here. We're in it now.
I knew that something would always rule me.
You spend your life hoping someone will punish you for your sins.
I knew the scent was mine alone.
Well, here I am. What you put out into this world will always come back to you. But it never comes back how you predict.
All you have is your fire, and the place you need to reach.
I realized to be free in this life,
Don't you ever
breaking the rules meant nothing. You had to be strong enough to make your own.
Did you find out if you are as cruel as you need to be?
Don't you ever tame your demons. Always keep them on a leash.
So there was your little look at Live by Night. Now, Live by Night is the latest Ben Affleck film. It is written, it is directed. I'm pretty confident it's produced by Ben Affleck. And that appeals to me instantly, because I, again, as much as I am a big Kevin Smith fan, because of that, I'm a huge Ben Affleck fan. I mean, Ben Affleck is in some of the best Kevin Smith films. I mean, Jersey Girl, maybe not the best, but Chasing Amy, probably is one of his best ever works. Mallrats, he's in a lot of Kevin Smith films. And that's when my love for Ben Affleck started, and then it grew with films like Good Will Hunting and Argo and other films like that, which have really, really stood out to me. And Ben Affleck seems like a director with a hell of a lot of talent and a hell of a lot of things going for him. And this looks like it possibly could be his best work. Now, what I will say about this trailer instantly is, although it's a really, really good trailer, it goes on for too long. It's a 2.5 minute trailer, which in my opinion is a bit too long for a trailer. I mean, there was a trailer that I didn't show last week and didn't talk about last week, called the USS Indianapolis, which is the new Nick Cage film, and that trailer's 4.5 minutes long. And I mean, that's not just like a movie trailer YouTube channel in which it's like, oh look, the last minute is just adverts for our channel. No, it's a full 4.5 minute trailer, and I just stopped watching it. I was like, I'm going to watch this film. I don't need to see a 4.5 minute trailer. That's ridiculous. Unless this film's on for like 5 hours, that's ridiculous. And I think it's the same with a 2.5 minute trailer. You end up seeing too much footage from this film. And honestly, I would say just stop watching after like a minute and a half. Because I feel like you genuinely do start to see too much information. Although, you may be tempted to not stop watching because the soundtrack, after like the first minute, goes so good. And if that's anything to tell what the film's going to be like, soundtrack wise, you know, he's got it on point. The trailer is very well shot. It's very, very well edited and very well made. And as far as analysing trailers can go, this has sold me on this film instantly. Now, I didn't know this was... They don't advertise it as a Ben Affleck directed film. They just say from the same director as Argo in the Town, which tells me that Ben Affleck really doesn't want to advertise this as something he's made. And I don't get that. But, you know, either way, Ben Affleck is like everything in this film. And he stars in this film, and it is about a outlaw. Well, it's set in the 1920s, and it's about Ben Affleck as I think he's sort of like a mob gangster guy, and he ends up stealing and robbing his mob boss, and that does not seem to go down very well. And it kind of becomes like a Goodfellas type revenge sort of film, from what I've gathered. from what this is only a trailer, so it's all assumptions on plot and from the small synopsises we've got. But this film looks, and I'm talking like looks wise, it looks beautiful. It sounds like it's going to be great, and I just think from Ben Affleck works, it looks like it's really good. But as a trailer, I can't give it 5 stars. Again, this is a film that has really, really sold me instantly. Both of the last 2 trailers really, really grabbed me and were like, Jesus Christ, these are good. But this trailer goes on for too long. The last one could have been seen a bit boring. This trailer goes on for probably about a minute too long. I think a lot of it could have been cut out, and they could have just shown highlights of this. But, I mean, soundtrack-wise, pulling me in-wise, it got me instantly. It didn't need to be a 2.5-minute trailer, and that's where it lets itself down. As I said, watch some of it, don't watch all of it. So-so. 4 stars out of 5. That is Live by Night.
Howard is a brilliant, creative, charismatic guy. He used to love life. Right now, he hates it.
I try to talk to him, I try to reach him, and he's not there. I miss him.
He writes letters.
Who are they to?
Howard doesn't write letters to people. He writes to things. Time, love, death.
Kids write letters to Santa Claus. It doesn't mean they're crazy.
No, this is therapeutic.
Who did you write the letter to?
I wrote the letter to Death.
Nice to meet you. They're charmed, I'm sure.
Nope.
People write letters to the universe all the time. Most don't get a personal response, but you are.
I don't want this.
I'm time. I'm a gift, and you're wasting it.
You're gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm having conversations.
I am love. Don't try and live without me, Howard.
I saw you in her eyes when she called me daddy, and you betrayed me.
I'm the reason for everything. If you can accept that, then maybe you get to live again.
So this is an instant Oscar winner. I mean, to the point of, like, it's kind of getting a bit boring. I'm already predicting the Oscars now. And I think, as someone who hadn't really sat down and really analysed and watched the Oscars properly until this year, you can always see what films are going to win Oscars. You've got your Life of Pies and all that. And I think that's the key thing. Life of Pi is an obvious instant Oscar winner. And this is obviously an instant Oscar winner. And I don't think nothing's going to change that. You've got that, and at the moment you've got Bill Lynn's Halftime Walk. I think that's what it's called. I'm not 100%. That's another Ang Lee film, same person who did Life of Pi. And this film just screams, and I mean screams, Oscar to me. And not in a good way, in the point where it feels like it's a bit forced. The music, the cast. I mean, you've got Will Smith, you've got Edward Norton, Keira Knightley, Michael Pena, Naomi Harris, Kate Winslet, Helen Mirren. I mean, this is an ensemble cast, if I've ever seen one. General plot, Will Smith loses his daughter. I think it just says personal tragedy. They mention it right at the beginning that he loses his daughter, but everywhere seems to just mention it's a deep personal tragedy. So I'm pretty confident he's lost his daughter, and he starts trying to write to things very much like Jake Gyllenhaal does in Demolition. He writes to people, but this time writes to things, and these things come to life to him. He writes to love, he writes to time, to death. He writes to all these things, and they eventually come back to him and talk to him. And that's really all I kind of gathered from this trailer. It doesn't try to give away a lot. I think it does give away a bit, but it had to give away a bit in order to show off the cast and what the cast was doing. But, you know, it doesn't show off loads. I wasn't kind of like, oh, it showed me the entire film, much like Live by Night tried to show me the entire film. But yeah, this trailer looks alright. I'm not going to talk a lot about it. The music was a bit dull. I mean, the cast, I don't really like Helen Mirren. It takes a lot for me to like a Helen Mirren film. But I mean, I like Will Smith, and obviously I love Edward Norton. So I'm definitely going to give this a shot. I would recommend watching this trailer, because I think you're going to see a hell of a lot about this film. This is going to be a big, big film. But yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars, because I'm not a person who really likes Oscar bait films, and this does just scream Oscar bait. Will Smith wants an Oscar. He's kind of getting a bit desperate. The stench is just kind of getting a bit desperate from him now. And I think after Focus, and the whole Oscar's so white, he's going to be nominated. He has to be nominated. It would be such a backlash. I mean, he didn't even show up to this year's Oscars because he didn't get nominated. If he doesn't get nominated, it's going to be a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. That was my short review on Collateral Beauty. So, you've now come to the point in the podcast which is, again, completely new. I like adding completely new things in, but because this week I don't have any 1 minute reviews, because I haven't reviewed enough stuff to justify a 1 minute review at the moment. So, there's no 1 minute reviews, and because it's basically pilot season for America and everything now, as America starts putting loads of new seasons on, loads of new shows, and all of these. Now, I'm calling it, like, Pilot Spotlight, but it won't just incorporate brand new pilots, it will incorporate just shows that are starting again, like Scream Queens, which I'm counting as a pilot. Actually, no, Scream Queens probably shouldn't count as a pilot, because it's more of a second season, but with a completely different theme. I'm going to be talking about Scream Queens. I'm going to be talking about American Horror Story, because that is the equivalent of a pilot, because we've never seen this season of American Horror Story. In fact, at this point in time, it's a mystery what the theme still is. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Donald Glover's new show, Atlanta. We're going to be talking about Son of Zorn. We're talking about, hopefully, if it extends to this point, I may just have to do it in October, Westworld. There's so many new things coming out, and I just kind of want to talk about these things. And this week, we're going to be talking about Atlanta, and the other relatively new show. It's been on for a couple of weeks now, but I've only just discovered it. I don't think it's made its way to the UK yet. I really, really hope it does. It's not particularly a show that really requires you to watch it on time. It's more of just a generic chat show, more of just like a random show, and that's Kevin Smith's Geeking Out. That's right, 2 Kevin Smith in one episode. It's well, actually, I mentioned him 3 different times in one episode. It's really a very Kevin Smith themed episode, but I am feeling very Kevin Smithy at the moment. Anyway, here is a little trailer for Atlanta.
What? My breath. Oh, I love it. What is that? Curry?
Are you kidding?
Like a very deep curry?
That is not. That's like some freaky.
Hey, yo, you heard that new Paperboy mixtape?
That's my cousin.
You gonna want to get in there before he gets signed, man.
So, Zoo Tycoon.
You want in on Paperboy?
What? No?
Please, man.
If we do this right, your kids can live good. My kids can live good.
I just played you a little clip there from Atlanta. Now, Atlanta is the new show from Childish Gambino, otherwise known as Donald Glover, otherwise known as Troy off Community. Now, you may know him as any of those 3 names. He was in, more recently, you may know him if you are unaware of Community or who Childish Gambino is. He was in The Martian. He played a really cool character in that. I really liked him in that. And he was exceptionally good in Community. And Community, if you don't know me, personally, you may not know how obsessed I am with Community, and how it's my favourite ever sitcom by far. I have watched it. I couldn't tell you how many times, but it's probably about 10, all 6 seasons. I'm obsessed with it. It's fantastic, and I don't understand why more people don't love it, because every person I've ever showed to it is obsessed with it and is falling in love with it, and I think that's testament to it. So that's a completely different side now. I also really like Childish Gambino, which is his rap alter ego, and I really like his music in that. I think it's one of the best rappers around at the moment, just because I think he's really different. And that's the best segue I can think of into this show. Now, this is written by and starring Donald Glover, and as is like his rap career, it's different, it's strange, and it's magnificent. That is honestly the best way I can describe it, because it's beautiful. This show is beautiful. It is about Donald Glover. He is an aspiring rapper who is growing up in Atlanta, and he's not doing very well. He's a dead-end job. He is not really getting anywhere with his rap career. He has a rap rival that's actually starting to get places, but he's still not getting anywhere, and he's trying to start managing him. He's obsessed with music. He has a wife that I think this is the only thing I found an issue with, is I wasn't 100% sure what his situation was with his wife. I think his wife's left him, but he still has to live with her, because he's got no money. He's basically homeless. He's the equivalent of being homeless. He has no money and nothing to his name, but he really is trying hard. And it's a comedy and a drama, and it deals with so many topics. It's a 22-minute programme, and I talk about the first 2 episodes here because it was a double bill when it first started. So it's only 22 minutes an episode, but it was technically a 2-parter, so... the key is that this is a very, very well shot, very, very moving, well made. In fact, it's stunningly made. I don't know a program that's as well made as this. It's very artsy, which I would say is testament to Donald Glover because he likes artsy things. His music's very kind of arty, indie, and this is, again, very arty and indie. It deals with, in its first 2 episodes, just to give you a scale of what this show can do, it deals with black rights, it deals with racism, it deals with homophobia, it deals with gender equality, it deals with rap music and that's approach to children and how children are affected by it, it deals with police brutality, it deals with all these things in literally just like basically 45 minutes, and I think that's fantastic. A show that can do that in an entire season is kind of insane, but for a show to do it in 2 22-minute episodes, and it not just like, oh, look, we're brushing over it. Do it in a way that's kind of meaningful. This isn't just like, oh, look, the police are beating some guy up. You know, it's kind of done in a like, oh my god, Jesus, this is still happening today. And it shocks you, it invokes emotion in ways that few other TV shows can manage in a season. This has so much potential, and I think if you like Donald Glover's humour, this is something you may have never seen before. This is nothing like Community, but in a way I kind of like that. It's different, and it's just mesmerising. There is no other way for me to say it. This show is insanely good looking, and in its first 2 episodes it hooked me. The first episode is very, very clever in the way it starts and finishes at the same point. The second episode deals with 2 topics, and just really, really cleverly deals with other things. Like, the second episode is mostly entirely set inside a police station, and I think that's really clever. The first episode is just kind of introducing other characters, and it just never felt like a pilot. I felt like I was already attached to all these characters, and I think that's the best ever compliment I can give to a show. A pilot that doesn't feel like a pilot and feels like I've been watching it for years. It is possibly it's on track to be one of the best shows of the year. If it carries up with this quality, I have to give both episodes. It was a stunning 2-parter. I have to give them 5 stars each. That is Atlanta.
Calling all fans.
This is what I always dreamed about.
Start geeking out.
You're going to Comic-Con.
Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg hang with Matt Damon and other Comic-Con insiders.
Go get geeky.
Geeking Out, the Comic-Con special. Sunday night at 10, only on AMC.
Now, I get that was just a promo for the show, because it's really hard for me to find a trailer for this, because it's more of a talk show sort of thing. It's on every weekend in America, straight after Fear the Walking Dead and the Fear the Walking Dead after show. It's on at that. It's shown late at night, and it's a Kevin Smith hosted talk show called Geeking Out, and it's also hosted by Greg Grunberg, who you will know from Heroes. He was in Star Wars. He's in pretty much every J.J. Abrams thing ever. If you look him up, you might recognise him. He's in so many things. I'm sure you'll recognise him from at least something. And it's basically just a talk show where they kind of visit different geeky things and do nerdy things and film-related things, mostly. I mean, you have entire episodes where they'll just be talking about film things. And what I really, really liked and appreciate about this is a talk show about films hosted by people who know about films. I mean, obviously, I think I'm heavily biased by the fact that Kevin Smith's like my idol and everything he does is fantastic. I'm kind of biased by that. But this show is kind of like perfect for me and anyone that's really interested in film. And the reason I'm not going to talk about this loads, and it's giving it star ratings pretty hard because it's only a talk show. It's not a 5-star show, it's not brilliantly made. It's only on for 22 minutes. And it's just something I would recommend for every film, comic, TV nerd out there, because it's very, very clever with what it does. I mean, there was one of the episodes I was watching. I've watched the first 5 episodes now, so it's, I'm quite late to the party on this one. But I figured I'd talk about it because it's still a new show. I don't know how many episodes they're doing of it, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's not also something... It's not like Jimmy Fallon, where you're out of touch if you're watching it a week late. You could go back and watch the first episode, and because it's not like getting signature guests on, you know, it's still just kind of like a TV show in that sense. It's not a thing that you need to watch at the time. It's not like reading a newspaper and you're being late. They're not dropping new information all the time. They're just kind of visiting things and talking about things. And in that sense, it's like watching a podcast crossed with like segments to do with film. Like, they would just be talking about things and things they're interested in, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, and then we visited Adam Savage off Mythbusters, and he helped us make props for this thing, and he took us down his prop lab, and he talked about what props he made, and we built a custom prop, and they'll show you that. Or we took us to the body lab, in which they built all the bodies for all the horror films, and all this thing, and it's kind of insane to see this. In the one I watched last night, they went to a costume thing where this guy had collected all these costumes, and he had like legit costumes from Batman 66, and he was telling all these stories about it, and it's just really, really interesting. And as I said, if you're a film nerd or anything of a sort of nerd, this film's really, really interesting, because there's very few shows where you see two people who genuinely know what they're talking about. You know, these aren't people that are reading off cue cards. These are people that are going to these places with a passion for what they're talking about. And I think that's unlike anything you'll see in a talk show. You don't watch Jimmy Fallon and think, oh, he genuinely finds all those jokes funny. His laugh's quite obviously fake. Kevin Smith, you know, he's blunt. He doesn't care what people think about him. He will try his best and will be himself. And it's very obvious when he doesn't like something. And in this, he just seems to be at home with everything he's doing and find a love for it. And I think that's the best thing you can say about this talk show. I would recommend to any person who enjoys film to watch this. I'm going to give Geeking Out 4 stars out of 5. It's definitely worth a watch. And that brings an end to Pilot Spotlight. Hope you've enjoyed.
This is Hawkins. I know the worst thing that's ever happened here in the 4 years I've been working here. It was when an owl attacked Eleanor Gillespie's head because it thought that her hair was a nest. Out of 100 times, kid goes missing. The kid is with a parent or a relative.
What about the other time?
What?
You said 99 out of 100. What about the other time? The one!
I'm going to be honest. I didn't like the look of it. It looked terrible in my opinion. It looked like it was being an overhyped mess, and I wasn't keen on it. I watched it in 3 days. It was unbelievably good. This is probably one of the most poorly marketed trailer TV shows I've seen in a while. I thought it completely turned me off, in fact. I wasn't intrigued at all. I didn't really care for it. In fact, the hype was starting to put me off it a bit. And I thought, you know what, one night, I've got nothing to watch. I'll give it a shot. My God, I'm glad I gave this a shot. I see exactly where the hype comes from. And if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, this is Stranger Things. Now, Stranger Things is the latest Netflix original show. It's written by the Duffer Brothers, and it stars Winona Ryder, David Harbour as a mother whose child goes missing. There is a plethora of child actors, all new. They are, I'm going to say the names, I wouldn't say the names normally, but I think I just have to just talk about them for a while, because, my God, they are brilliant. So we've got Finn Wolfhard, Millie Bobby Brown, Gaten Matarazzo, Caleb McLaughlin, sorry if I've got that name right. You have Natalia Dyer, Charlie Heaton, and and Noah Schnapp as Will. And Will is the child that goes missing. Now, as Will goes missing, they're playing Dungeons & Dragons, they're going home, all these 4 friends, played by the kids I've just said, except Natalia Dyer and Charlie Heaton. I shouldn't have mentioned those names in the thing. Basically, I'll start again with the cast. 4 people, 4 kids, all playing Dungeons and Dragons. They all go home, and as one of them goes, oh, you know what, I'm going to take this shortcut, he disappears. Then, the next day, they're like, where's this kid gone? And then this other child appears. This other child is a little girl, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and she's called 11. She doesn't speak a lot, but she has powers, special powers. She can basically move things with her mind and do things with her mind. Powers aren't explicitly explained what she is, and I like that. I think that's very, very good. And it ends up being a mystery of, where's Will? Who's this girl? What's the mystery surrounding it? And it becomes a sci-fi, 80s horror beauty. It's one of the best soundtrack shows I've ever watched. It's one of the best written shows I've ever watched. And it's one of the most creative Netflix shows I've ever watched. It's up there creative-wise with BoJack Horseman. And well, that's just actually it. It's up there creative-wise with BoJack Horseman. And I really, really, really like what they've done with this show. Now, what I will say is this is the most 80s show you'll ever watch that isn't made in the 80s. You would think it's made in the 80s. The Duffer Brothers, who are the writers of this, have written a show that is so well crafted and so genius in the sense that it's not parodying, but paying homage to all Steven Spielberg films. It's paying homage to films like Stand By Me, E.T., classic horror like Halloween and Scream, and it's so aware of it. I mean, there's even a scene where 4 kids are walking along an empty train track. I mean, come on. That's fantastic. It's like watching a full series of The Goonies, for example. And yet it incorporates this 80s horror element, which I just found fantastic. I mean, 80s horror is like my stuff. I mean, I am obsessed with 80s horror. I just love it. I can't express how much I love 80s horror. And I'm quite the big, well, I wouldn't say I'm like a huge 80s film fan, but I'm very aware of it, and I'm aware of how many classic films are from the 80s, and how this film is so genius in the way it does things. Now, this is a show that also has kept me hooked throughout its 8 episodes. It never, ever overstays its welcome, and with every episode, you feel like you are interested and kind of shocked and disturbed by what's going on. There is this overseeing thing of this company that is trying to hunt down 11, and these kids are trying to hide them from this company because they know she's something more than this. They know this company has something to do with the boy's disappearance. Winona Ryder is the mother of the boy that's gone missing, and her, along with her son, are obsessed. Well, actually, the mother, Winona Ryder herself, is more obsessed with the fact that her boy has been taken. She kind of knows what the audience knows, in a sense. I mean, it's very heavily hinted that the boy is inside this world. He's been taken by this mysterious company, and the mum is obsessed with it. She thinks she's got the nail on the head. And along with all this story, you've got monsters, you've got superpowers, and you've got lots and lots of 80s references. And I would love and just love and love and love to say this show is flawless, because 90% of it is. The acting is never ever bad. You are never not desperate to find out what happens next. If you are obsessed with 80s stuff, this is perfect for you. It is a beautiful film. It's fantastically shot. It's fantastically written. As I've already said, soundtrack, it's just fantastic. But what I will have to say is its CGI is where it gets let down. This is a show that doesn't need CGI. This is a show that, for the most part, when it tries to do things that are CGI, it works. But what it doesn't like, and what it can't do very well, is CGI monsters or CGI. Well, it's obvious. I think this is my most issue. It's obvious in a program that's very, very much practical effects. It's obvious when it's not. And the main thing is there is a monster in this show. There is a kind of like a big monster, and it is not a good looking monster. In fact, I think it's the worst looking monster I've seen in a TV show in a while. And I can see where all the budget went. But what I would have loved is it to be a practical effect. Because I think if Alien can do a practical effect in 1979, they can do a practical effect in 2016. And I think that's testament to why Alien holds up. I've also said I think that's testament about 50 times, and it's starting to annoy me now. And I think that the monster would have had a lot more impact, and maybe even been a little scarier if they'd have adapted it. Maybe not use the exact same monster, but kind of adapted the monster into a practical effect and have someone in a costume. And I think it would have been 10 times more impactful. And I think it maybe would make the show hold up years and years and years into the future, because I think it could look outdated soon, which is something that's a shame, because for the most part it's a beautiful show, and that's where I would say it lets itself down. The child actors are Oscar winners instantly. I can't speak highly enough of what these children can do. These 4 kids, especially Millie Bobby Brown and Gaten Matarazzo, and I would also say Finn Wolfhard, who plays, basically they're the main things. I'm leaving out Caleb McLaughlin there. I don't know why, because they're all just fantastic. It's hard for me to stop and just like say something bad about them, because they all have this distinctive love for what they're doing, and you can just perfectly tell. And I just cannot speak highly enough of them. They are fantastic. And I would say this is a 5-star program if it wasn't for the CGI. And it's genuinely knocking it down, because everything else in this show is 5 stars, but the CGI is just knocking it down to 4.5. So I'm going to give Stranger Things 4.5 stars in glowing, and I'm talking glowing recommendations. It's the best show. It's not the best show Netflix have put out all year. BoJack Horseman still takes that run. That's definitely a 5-star program. But this is up there, and I can immediately see every hype is justified. And if you like the sound of an 80s show made in this year, you will love it. I liked it in the end, and I'm so glad I watched it. I'm going to give Stranger Things 4.5 stars out of 5. Now let's move on to Kubo and the Two Strings.
My name is Kubo. I look after my mother mostly. What was father like?
He was just like you. Strong and so handsome.
Ugh, Mother. I use magic to tell stories. If you must blink, do it now. About epic battles, warriors, and monsters. But I had no idea my stories were actually true.
We've been looking for you for so long.
Mother!
Kubo, you must find your father's armor. It's your only chance.
Kubo! Who are you?
Your family is very powerful. Your mother used her magic to save you and bring me to life. I'm here to protect you, Kubo. And that means you have to do as I say. Don't mess with the monkey.
Kubo and the Two Strings is the latest film by Studio Laker. It's directed by Travis Knight, and I can't say what else he's done because it's his first ever film. It stars Charlize Theron, Art Parkinson, Ralph Fiennes, Rooney Mara, George Takei, Matthew McConaughey. So many famous faces. But you don't see any of them, because as it's a Studio Laker film, it's a stop-motion masterpiece. And you'll know Studio Laker, they made Corpse Bride, they made Coraline, they made Box Trolls, they made all these fantastic stop-motions. And as someone that is just infatuated by stop-motion, I think it's an underappreciated art form, because it is magnificent. I mean, I've tried to make stop-motion. I think anyone that's interested in film has to, or at least should have, tried stop-motion in the past. Because it's hard work, and it's just insanely satisfying. In fact, I'm that obsessed with stop motion that one of my 5 short films, which are going to take a lot longer than I thought because I'm actually using them as a coursework project now for something, so they are going to take longer, is actually a stop motion. And that's insanely hard, but it's fun, and it's satisfying, and it just looks kind of beautiful. And that is 100% the key to this film. It's one of the best looking stop motions I've ever seen. I don't understand how they do it, honestly. It mesmerises me. I can watch this film and just be mesmerised by the fact that someone is moving these every second. In fact, they're not moving it every second. They're moving it like 20, 30 times per second. And that's just insane. Thinking about that's insane. Story-wise, let's get straight into the story. Kubo is a child. He has one eye. That's a key factor. I'm not just saying that because he's like Fetty Wap. He has one eye, and he has a mother who was severely injured. I wasn't 100% confident or sure what was wrong with his mother. This was something I didn't understand, and I feel like wasn't elaborated on purpose, but I felt like could have been elaborated on. And he is protecting himself from something called the Moon King. Now, the Moon King is basically the villain of the film, and someone who wants his other eye. That's right, it's a kid's film where the villain is trying to steal his eyes. I don't know what Studio Laker has an obsession with in its eyes, but they like trying to steal kids' eyes, and it's dark. And that's another key thing to this film. And basically, he ends up going on this massive adventure to save his mum and himself from the Moon King and trying to defeat the Moon King. Now, I'm trying to spoil as little as possible, but he basically goes on this adventure with a monkey and this beetle-like creature. You've seen it all in the trailers. As he tries to find these three amulets, I'm going to say. They're not amulets, but they're kind of like... they're not amulets, but they're just artifacts. Ancient artifacts, really. And he has to try and find all of them so he can go and defeat the Moon King. But Kubo is no ordinary one-eyed child. Kubo is a child with a guitar. Now, this guitar doesn't have two strings. In fact, the reason it's called Kubo and the Two Strings is kind of vague, and I don't think it was a good title for it. I really don't. I was expecting the guitar to have two strings. It doesn't. In fact, I think it has two strings for like 2 minutes, if that, and then they put another string on it. It's a bit random. Don't get that. And you can use this guitar, and you can make origami come to life. You can mould paper into anything. And that's where most of the magic comes from. And I think that's also something that's fantastic about this film. The paper and the work they've done on that is insane. It looks beautiful. And it's a really cool power to have. It's something really different. And that's another thing about this film. It's really imaginative. It's really different. And again, it uses an underappreciated art form. Creating a completely new IP, in a sense, and having a weird art form to go along with it is impressive nowadays. I mean, this isn't something they've just adapted. This is a really new idea, and they've adapted it and taken it on in a really new and interesting way. And I have to credit them for that. What I will say is not everything lands. I think the story sometimes feels a bit jarred and a bit out of place. Sometimes things feel a bit rushed, but not all the time. But the voice work's fantastic. I was intrigued by the story. The fact that it was really dark really got me. And, you know, it takes a lot to impress me with a kids' film. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the classic Disney films. And it's only recent years when I've really started to appreciate what kids' films should be like. And, I mean, ignoring Pixar, who have made just a plethora of 5-star films. I mean, there's not many Pixar films that aren't 5-star. There's probably about 4 or 5 that aren't 5-star films. And I'm starting to think Laker are also coming up to that standard of what a child's film should be. I mean, I took my brother to see this. This is why I've seen this film this weekend. I promised I'd take him, so I took him. And I was just shocked. I think it was shocked by what it is. It's a dark film, and I think kids appreciate that. It sometimes can be scary. I mean, my brother wasn't scared, and he was 7. But I don't know whether some people may find it scary. But as a kids' film, I mean, I enjoyed it as much as every other child in that room. And I would happily watch this again and again. And I can see how some people may find it even more, you know, iconic than me. I'm sure this could be some kid's favourite film. And I think that is another just testament to what Laker can do. Stop motion is a definitely underused medium. And I think it's so much better than just CGI animation, because you either hand draw it or you go Studio Laker's way, because CGI animation's just a cop out in my opinion. This is a fantastic film, and yes, it has flaws, but those flaws don't detract from what is a good story and a fantastic, beautiful film. I'm going to give Kubo and the Two Strings 4 stars out of 5. And there we have it. Thank you so much for listening. This week I've gathered it's been a bit shorter, it's been a bit more different, and a bit crap because I've not got many new releases in. As I said, I'm not feeling very well, and I've tried my best to try and get something out there because I don't want to disappoint people, and I also want to keep this consistent. I really enjoy doing this, and next week I'll be making up there with my reviews. That's right, on Wednesday, this week's so busy for films, and I really want to try and hopefully live up to the, you know, the idea that I can watch all these films, hopefully, and not, like, screw myself over in other apartments like school. So on Wednesday, I'm hopefully seeing Don't Breathe and Hell or High Water. On Friday, I'm hopefully seeing Blair Witch. I'm also going to be watching Blair Witch Project in the week. I also want to watch Hunt for the Wilder People. Unfortunately, Bridget Jones' Baby comes out on Friday, so I'll also have to go and watch that. Ben-Hur hopefully should still be at the cinemas by then. And there should be other films also coming out. So that is all coming in, and I'm very, very excited to talk about all of that. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, please drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe, do all of that crap. I don't really like to plug myself very often in that sense, but I am plugging myself now. So please like, please comment, please subscribe. If you have enjoyed watching this, thank you. That should have been the segue to say like, comment and subscribe, but it's not. I've really enjoyed doing this. I can't wait to join you next week. I have been Dawson. This has been my 11th week in media. Out.
Justine, as gorgeous as ever. Well, you've put on a bit of weight.
Fuck off.